Here's a hard-hitting quote for you. Perfectionism doesn't have much to do with sanctity. Ouch. We're going to dive into that today and how it relates to discernment. How do we know if we are to do this certain thing, go down a certain career path, pursue that person, say no to this date, keep going on dates with this person, stay single, discern religious life? There's so many choices today to make in today's world, and so we're going to go through a couple different things on the topic of discernment. Now, will I exhaust this topic today? Absolutely not. There is so much to say about discernment and going through the process. It is so unique to each person and the decisions that you're going to need to make and the circumstances that you are in your current life phase. But these are some overarching ideas, some good guidelines that we can depend on and let guide us. So we're going to dive into that today. Let me know if you like this video and go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And you can go ahead and check us out over on Instagram as well. And if you want to see more videos of my face or anyone else on the team here at CatholicMatch, we have a fantastic team going and content that we are all very passionate about, that we love talking about. Please follow us over on YouTube. We love to have you there and following along. I also hang over on Instagram on our lives. I do Q&As over there, so you get an opportunity to, if you want to go hang out, submit questions, submit answers, to actually be involved in some of our YouTube content, which is really, really cool. With all that being said, my name is Sarah, and I'm very happy to have you here. I am going to hopefully pronounce this father's name correctly. Father Jacques Philippe. He wrote a book called Searching for and Maintaining Peace, if you've never heard about it, and I really like it. I discovered it when I was converting to the Catholic faith, because if there's one thing to discern, it's if you're going to convert and change your entire worldview and how you see the world and operate as a human amongst humans. And I read a lot about what he had to say, especially when it came to discernment. And he has a lot of good stuff to say. A lot of it's pretty hard-hitting, especially with the quote that I opened up this video with, but we're going to dive on into it. It's kind of a longer quote, and I want to break it down. I want to talk about it because I think it's a fair question to ask yourself. If you are in the phase of life where you don't know the next step and you are looking for guidance and leadership on how to make that last step, how to continue going, how to have confidence and continue to pursuing what you want to do. So at the beginning of this video, I said part of this quote, perfectionism doesn't have much to do with sanctity. And for my type A's out there, that's a challenge. Perfectionism doesn't have much to do with sanctity. So I guess the first point I want to make in discernment is that it doesn't have to be perfect, that you don't have to worry about getting it perfectly right on the first try. You don't have to worry about having it all figured out the minute you have to figure something out, that you are not going to become sanctified purely through perfection. And I think that that's something that we all need to take to prayer, that we all need to look at and assess within ourselves. Or am I striving for perfection or am I striving for sanctity? These are two really different roads, really different paths, and I think it can help a lot in our path to discernment. Father Jacques Philippe, he says that the Lord loves those who know how to decide for themselves, even when they are uncertain, and he loves those that abandon themselves to him with confidence, regardless of the consequences. He says that we ought to prefer this way, this posture, instead of tormenting ourselves over, like what God expects of us and what we are to do instead of ever making a move forward. He says, because in this first attitude, what he loves so much, what God loves so much about that, is that it involves complete abandonment, complete confidence, and therefore complete love. So when we make confident choices in abandoning our will to the Lord, and especially when it comes to our dating life, abandoning our will to him and his plan for us, that we have that with complete abandonment, complete confidence, and therefore complete love, which is ultimately the goal. God loves us so much, he wants us to love him back in the exact same way. He does not wish, this father says, for us to sit there and split hairs over all the details. And he says perfectionism, I'll say it again, doesn't have much to do with sanctity. Another rule of thumb that I want to go over is that no matter your phase of life, and I think this is vague, but in a very helpful way, you can look at your desires and you can look at your circumstances and you can see if they align in a way that you can pursue what you're discerning to pursue. If they do not align, that could be a really great way of saying no to something. Let's say you meet someone on CatholicMatch and they don't really live that close to you. Maybe you need to consider long distance. So that's a desire, considering long distance, a circumstance. Maybe this person also is totally open to pursuing long distance. Those two things match up, and that can help you discern to then pursue long distance with that person. On the other hand, let's say that you are dating someone and you met them. They are not close to you. Location-wise, they don't really have a strong desire, or they're not putting forth a lot of effort into pursuing you long distance either. That's a desire that does not match up with a circumstance, and that can be a very easy way to then decide not to date that person. We can draw this out in a million different circumstances. That's just one example. Overall, though, when it comes to discernment, especially because we have to do it all the time, with every person we meet and relationship we build and date that we go on, we have to discern a million different things. Our first place to run is perhaps to a really good friend who knows how to understand us and won't throw judgment back at us, who is a good listener and is willing to listen. It's also to run to God and to ask him what he thinks about the situation. God, what do you think I should do? And I think that it sounds really simple and it kind of sounds maybe silly, but when was the last time you ran to him? When was the last time you asked him what to do? When was the last time you gave him space to give his opinion? I think you could be really surprised if you give the Lord some space to give his opinion, to voice his thoughts, and to help you discern, is this what I'm supposed to do? Where I'm supposed to be? Who I'm supposed to be with? Lord, tell me what I should do. Lord, help me discern my path. Lord, lead me with peace, because right now I'm pursuing perfection. And Father Jacques Philippe, he's a father and he is close to you. And I know that he is right and has to be right in this, that perfectionism does not win over sanctity, that I am pursuing sanctification, not perfection. Lord, help me pursue it. That being said, if you want me to make future videos on discernment, there are a lot of different avenues we could go down. And there are even some situations that I could pull from you guys over on Instagram. So make sure you keep your eye out on over there, where we could talk through how to go through discerning this process. If it's doing long distance, being in a relationship at all, getting back on CatholicMatch on your profile, or taking a break from dating, whatever have you, we can dive deeper in. Just let me know in the comments below. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one.